All right. Well, thank you everyone that has stayed. Yeah, now we're going to focus solely on the Greenville races, and there are two for Greenville Council. We have the 3 seats on Greenville Council itself, and the mayor's race. There's only one mayor position though. So because all these questions affect everybody that's running, we're going to have pretty much everybody. We have everybody answer each of the questions, and since there's 1,000 of you, there's only 2 minutes for each one, and then at the end we'll have our 3 candidates running for mayor. Just kind of a closing, what makes them best. Give them 3 minutes to talk about what makes them best out of those candidates. And again, I will let each of you introduce yourselves. We'll be recording this. My colleague Earl Corp is taking notes, and we'll have multiple stories about this. Again, I don't think we'll have time for Q&A or much back and forth. I think that covers most everything. But yeah, thank you for being here. There's a timer here. I think it'll be more pressing with this one because we're down to 2 minutes.
Wait, was that me or him?
That was Joel. That was Joel.
It's all of you. It's all of you.
The official timekeeper.
Well, you keep time. You flip it over, and actually we have a couple. So, and I have a backup timer. So.
I got one of these fancy devices here.
Yeah, my phone is recording the video though, and it's like can only do so much at once. So, yeah, and again we'll start left, move to the right, and then snake back and forth with each question. So everyone, well, I guess not everyone will go first at some point, but. So yeah, let's just start with first, just introduce yourself, talk about your experience, your knowledge, what you plan to bring to council. Joel, go ahead.
Good evening. I am Joel Rinella. If you didn't know me already personally, perhaps you read some of my op-ed letters in the newspaper. I am bold, brash in my opinions. I make no apologies for that. About me, I was born and raised in Greenville Township. I worked in several family businesses as a teenager, started my career as a software developer with Warner Ladder Company. After 8 years there, I struck out on my own as an independent contractor, traveling the country as a hired gun for systems analysis and software development assignments. I worked for major national and international corporations and have experience in everything from retail sales to nuclear physics. I retired from that line of work in 2015. Presently, I'm an asset manager for a small private equity fund, and I also own and manage a small apartment rental business in Greenville. I'm also a student of history, particularly interested in early American history and government. The trials and tribulations of that period I find fascinating, and have taught me that there are 2 sides to an issue, and both sides must be examined to reach an informed decision. I purchased my grandparents' house a few years ago. One item that came along with that was a scrapbook that my grandmother kept containing newspaper clippings detailing the downfall of Greenville. One thing I realized from reading those clippings is that while history doesn't necessarily repeat itself, sometimes it does rhyme. As a member of council, I would use my skills as a systems analyst to help streamline current functions. My financial skills would be useful in keeping an eye on how taxpayer dollars are being spent. And I would definitely be keeping an eye to the history of Greenville to ensure that mistakes are not repeated and to help guide Greenville to a brighter future. Thank you.
Thank you. Trey.
Excuse me, I'm a little technological tonight.
I'm impressed.
Thank you. Sorry. Hello, everyone. Let me get this started. My name is Trey Wilt. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a lifelong Greenville resident. That's 25 whole years now, if you're counting in order. I went to Greenville High School. I went to Teal College. Moved around a little bit, but I've always been in the borough, whether it was on the east side or downtown specifically. I'm a local business owner. I run a company called Wilt Landscaping. We do landscaping and lawn care services. I've been technically an LLC in the borough of Greenville for 3 years, but I've been doing it since I was 10 years old, for those of you who grew up or lived near me. As far as relevant experience goes, I have a few things. First of all, I worked directly for the town of Greenville for a time in my college internship. At that time, I got to do a number of different things. I even rode around in the code enforcement truck a few times because we were in between code enforcement officers. I worked on the environmental reclamation project that we did with the Trinity site. You went door to door, talking to residents specifically, and of course grant writing and funding for Greenville. I also worked at Penn Northwest at that time. For those of you who don't know, Penn Northwest is the leading economic development corporation for Mercer County. They focus on a lot of fundraising and grant acquisition for businesses and business development. I also serve on the Greenville Planning Commission. We've been working on the rezoning of Greenville for the last year and a half. We just about wrapped it up. There's a few more things to T's to cross and I's to dot. But I'm very proud of the work that we've done there. I think it's going to be very beneficial for Greenville in the future. As a council member, I hope to use my business experience to help grow business in Greenville, especially in the Main Street downtown district. Any young person who grew up in Greenville and had a family that also grew up in Greenville, you hear about how Greenville used to be. And if you are one of the other people on the other side of that, you probably told your kids or grandkids about how Greenville used to be. Well, I never saw it. Trinity shut down before I have memories. So I would like to see something again, and obviously if you haven't noticed, I plan on being here for a long time. I've been here this long, and I would like Greenville to get there. So thank you very much.
Perfect, thank you.
Nice job.
Ann?
My name's Ann Butcher. I am a current member of Greenville Council. I've sat on the council the last 4 years, and before that, I served out a term for a council member who left. My family and I, we chose to move here 11 years ago. I'm not a native. I'm originally from Denver, Colorado. I've lived throughout the entire country in my adult life, including Columbus, Ohio, Shreveport, Louisiana, and Laramie, Wyoming. I'm a graduate of the University of Wyoming. I have a degree in political science. My career experience includes managing diagnostic sleep labs. We did about $5 to $6 million a year over 2 states in Louisiana and Texas. I had 9 labs I managed about 50 employees. That included government regulations, billing, hospital bills, and services. So I'm currently a member of the Greenville Planning Commission with Mr. Wilt. We have worked on rezoning. We've kept rezoning as an eye towards looking towards the future and what we can bring in terms of helping business development and development with housing, and where we want to see the town go through rezoning. I'm a member of the Sanitary Authority. I have been a member of the Zoning Hearing Board. I serve on several community organizations and boards, including the Greenville Area Public Library. I'm a past president of that library board. That's something I'm very proud of. And then I've also been a member of the Greenville Symphony Orchestra. My 11 years here have not been idle. It has been always with the goal to look back at giving back to the community that welcomed me and my family here, and being a part of that fabric. So, thank you.
Thank you. Jennifer?
Hi, my name is Jennifer Alexander. I was born and raised here in Greenville. I'm a GHS graduate of class of 2002. I have been here off and on. I had moved to Florida for a period of time. After the passing of my father, it brought me back here to my roots, back to be with my family. Since returning, I have opened a small business here in the borough. I have a notary office on Race Street. My children, I have 6 of them. They were born and raised here as well. I look forward to giving back to the community that I love so much. I would like to see businesses improve, bring back more business to our community. We need to just really work together as a unit to get our community to where it needs to be. I am not a politician by any means. I do not have near as many qualifications as those that were mentioned before myself. I do belong to the Civil Service Commission. I am on the Zoning Hearing Board, and I'm also on the Code of Appeals Board. But like I said, I am not a politician. I am just a mother and a community resident that just wants to see better for our community.
Very good. Tracy?
All right, and you use technology and my technology failed me. So I have handwritten notes. My name is Tracy Beil and I grew up in Greenville. I've actually lived on the West Main Hill for 50 years. I went to school, was married, and raised my children here. I've been active in our local government for about 8 years. that started with my attending the council meetings. As I attended the council meetings, they started talking about the home rule charter. So as that was discussed, I decided that I would run for the Home Rule Charter Commission. Well, I failed to be elected, so rather than be deterred, I decided that it was a good time to get a free municipal education. So I sat in nearly every one of the meetings that the Home Rule Commission had. The one that I missed was a reveal party for my grandson. So other than that, I attended all of those meetings at the same time in attending the council meetings as well. I then ran for election for a council seat. So I was elected to a council seat, and I spent 4 years on council, and I was on council through the end of Act 47. I didn't run for re-election because of personal reasons, but as weird as it sounds, I loved being on council. Last year I was elected to the Home Rule Charter Review Commission, and I served as chair on that commission. We reviewed the Home Rule Charter and brought suggested changes back to council, some of which will appear on the ballot next week for your vote. I'm currently serving on the library board, the Horizon Authority, the Canal Museum Board, and the Redevelopment Authority, which has been very exciting, hoping to make those changes to the Trinity property. We're looking at Main Street, just an overall
10 seconds.
look. So, and the last thing is that I volunteered for my time to the Night to Shine Decoration Committee for the last 3 years.
My old school technology also failed me. The sands are stuck, so we'll use digital. Jean, go ahead.
I would like to introduce myself to you. My name is Jean Carr-Fisher. I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a mother, a wife, a grandmother, and a great-grandmother, and a citizen of Greenville. Greenville and the future of Greenville is very important to me. I work here and I live here. I have been the manager of the DocuCenter at Teal College for over 20 years, where I've worked with many nonprofits and the businesses in our town. And we have many clients out of state. About 10 years ago, I joined Heritage Days. And for those of you who know Fred Kaiser, thanks to Fred Kaiser, I became the chairperson the following year. We expanded the events year-round and every year added new events. This year I retired from Heritage Days as the chair, but will be continuing to be active. I also chaired the Pennies for Our Fountain Restore Central Park. And we did that. We expected it to take 2 years to raise the $90,000 in funds that we needed to complete the project. We completed the fundraising and it was ready to go in 11 months. So I'm very proud of that. That was thanks to the donations of the people of Greenville. The people of Greenville did that. And I worked with some wonderful people, Rick Brown, who created the fountain, MK Landscaping and Supply, and Aero Electric to accomplish that. I received the Boomtown Eagle Award from the Greenville Area Chamber of Commerce, of which I was on the board of directors for 4 years. I'm currently on the Greenville Economic Development Corporation board as their secretary. I've been on council for 6 years. 2 of that, I've been the deputy mayor. I've chaired or been on most of the council standing committees. So that's why I'm here.
Perfect.
I'm telling you, I've practiced.
Paul.
Yes, I'm Paul Hamill. I am currently the acting mayor of Greenville. I'm born and raised in Pittsburgh. I moved to the general area back in '94. I moved to Greenville in 2008. I am a business owner. I own a big business up in Hempfield. I did originally start in Greenville, and we expanded out to the plaza for more space. I currently am working on a developer here in town that's helping to redevelop some of the properties here in the community. When it comes to experience, I do sit currently on the Mercer County Regional Council of Governments. I sit on Mercer County Regional Planning, the Mercer County Council, Boroughs Council Association. I sit on the Planning Commission with Ms. Butcher and Wilt there. The Sanitary Commission, the Code Committee, and I spend a lot of time training through the Pennsylvania State Association of Boroughs. I believe it was 2019, I actually became Greenville's first ever certified borough official, which just means that I met the requirements from the state to serve in the capacity of a council person. I have been on council for 10 years, 4 as the current mayor, 7 as council president, and of course 10 as general council.
Very good. Something I wanted to make sure, I think everyone did, but why don't we go one by one down the line again and just give your name exactly as it is on the ballot. So when people go to the ballot, they got face, name, exactly. Paul, start with you.
Paul R. Hamill.
Jean Carr-Fisher.
Tracy Beil.
Jennifer Lee Alexander.
Ann Butcher with an E.
Trey Wilt, also with an E.
You won't find my name on the ballot. I'm a write-in, Joel Rinella.
That's a good point. That's something I wanted to clarify too, who's running for council and who is on the ballot and who is not. So we got Joel, Trey, Ann, Jennifer, and Paul and Jean are all running for council. There are only 3 seats. Joel is running a write-in campaign, so you won't see him on the ballot. You would have to write him in. And then for mayor, which sits on council but is council president, we have 3 people running for it, Paul and Jean, and you'll find them on the ballot. Tracy's also running, but she's running a write-in campaign. Just so everyone's clear who everyone is, because I know everybody, and most everyone does, but just in case. Okay, so let's move to the first real meaty question here. The town having already sold its sewer system to Aqua Pennsylvania for $18 million, and in the process of selling its water system for another $18 million, Greenville is entering a very important moment in its history as it decides how it plans to utilize those funds. How do you think Greenville should use and spend those millions? And I'm sure all of you are well aware that this is a top concern for a lot of voters. So I think it's good that we have the opportunity to hear from each of you what your thoughts are. And let me get this.
Some technical problems there?
No, it's fine. All right, Paul, go ahead.
Okay, Greenville is at a unique opportunity here. This is what I would almost call a once in a lifetime for Greenville. I was not here during the good times of Greenville that Mr. Rinella was talking about. I've only been here for the bad times. This is a lot of money. And currently the $18 million that the sewer authority has right now, we're collecting roughly $60-some thousand a month in interest. So when you do the math on that, that's $750,000 a year. You add in the sale of the water authority, another $18 million, it's almost $1.5 million a year in interest. I feel it'd be foolish to spend that money. The principal money on that, we've gone so long without having and pushing things down the road and not getting anything done, whether it be infrastructure, paving roads. We have the opportunity now to basically live off that interest, and we spent $700,000 this year to pave roads. Next, that money's gone. It's going to take us 5 years to replenish that with liquid fuels. If we're smart and we handle this money properly, we'd have that same money back again next year to pay, if you wanted, another $700,000 for the streets. Leave that money grow for a while, it could possibly reach $2 million a year. $2 million of income every year can do a lot of good for this community, be it paving streets, lowering property taxes, and it's endless. But it has to be managed right, and it can't be just spent foolishly going out and, for that better, buying a fire truck or paving 10 roads. Once that money's gone, it's gone. but the interest is every year. Yes, it will go up and down according to the rates, but it's every year.
Thank you. Gene?
Okay, here comes scary. I sort of agree with Paul on this. And that doesn't happen often. The proceeds from the sale of sanitary authority and hopefully the water authority will need to be done with the future of the town in mind and a tremendous amount of planning. There will need to be discussions and research done to determine the best way to be certain that it remains a stream of income for Greenville, possibly by using interest that could be hundreds of thousands of dollars per year. The money should be working for us. Being invested, the type of investment, it's gonna require a little more research and should be handled by an outside firm. As citizens of this town and the council, it should be extreme importance to all of us how these investments are performing and what plan there is for the interest that we'll have as proceeds from these.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. Tracy?
Okay. I think we'll probably all be in some kind of agreement on this. I believe that we should keep the principal money invested and gaining the interest when we're ready to access the interest, when the funds are ours, because right now, they're not truly ours, so we're still waiting. But when they become ours, we need to set a budget, we need to look at our capital plan and select our most urgent needs, including development and redevelopment. There are just some things that need to happen for us to move forward. But using only part of the interest available, investing the remaining interest back into the principal, growing the principal and the interest, creating a constant stream of revenue. If we invest properly, find matching funds through grants, spend with intention, watch how every dollar is spent, we can set up Greenville and be secure for a very long time.
Perfect. Jennifer?
I also am in agreement with preserving the principle of that money. It needs to grow the interest. Like Paul said, we have gone so long without having that type of money. We need to set that aside and use the interest that comes from that. We can keep that. We can use interest to invest into our infrastructure, in repairing some of our roads, which obviously we need to repair, but the money does only go so far when you're only relying on liquid fuels. This money could also help in funding other parts of our community, like upgrading things for our fire department that is in need of a few things. We will touch base on that in the next question as well. So I just really believe that we need to hold on to this money, secure the long-term financial stability, reduce the liabilities that we have, and invest cautiously in our essentials. You have to protect today to prepare for tomorrow.
Very good. Ann?
Well, we're gonna sound like a broken record at this table, I have this big feeling. No, again, I don't think the principal should ever be touched. I think it's really easy when you get a windfall to go out and spend it really fast, and I think that would be a huge mistake. The interest is what we have to work with. We've spent enough time dragging ourselves out of Act 47. That's been the entirety of my existence here in Greenville, has been talks of Act 47. To stay out of it and to be financially secure is a big thing. But we also have to remember, we have a lot of years of neglect and deferred maintenance. We're gonna have to take care of some of those projects. To me, this is a long game. It's go through, do what we can to start checking off the list of things that need to be addressed. Roads, buildings, redevelopment, and then working towards, once we check that list off, then we can start doing the fun stuff. Then we can start looking at, lowering taxes. Then we can start looking at getting rid of fees. But it's a long game. It's not something that happens tomorrow, and it's not something that's 5 years down the road probably, but it's something that I think we can be really smart on and we can take care of.
Trey.
I was thinking about saying that I want to spend all $36 million in 1 year, just to see the look on everyone's faces. Trying not to sound like a broken record, I'm going to completely ignore this because I realize that is what everybody else said. But I've been a registered financial representative for the last year and a half, so not touching the principal is kind of like my bread and butter stuff. It's just a basic thing. Obviously, we're going to talk about that. I feel like the real heart of this question is, what are we going to do with the interest? Or what, if ever, would we need to spend that money on? In what case and scenario would we spend that money on? Obviously, there's a lot of projects, the town's economic plan, all the infrastructure stuff that everybody's talking about, developing the Trinity site, redeveloping our town hall basis area. There's been a lot of talks about that. There's a lot of projects, and obviously everybody as a group is going to have to decide those. But since I have 2 minutes to talk, and we've all said pretty much the basics of things, I'll just give you a couple of my basic ideas that I put down. So, we need to, my biggest focus really is cleaning up the downtown area. And I know there's a lot of other stuff, so I don't want to say that's the only thing I care about. But downtown business districts are the lifeblood of small towns. And more people are loving to live in small towns and in downtown areas and in cool looking small downtown areas. So I think that's our biggest asset. And that's the biggest thing in the grand scheme of things that we should be focusing on, is fixing up those buildings, fixing up that area. And obviously the town's been working on that a lot over the last few years. I just want to be able to keep moving that forward. And finally, we've never had money, at least in a long time. So it's kind of nice that we now have the money that we can actually start really working on all these projects and all these plans that we've had for years. If you ever go upstairs and ask them questions, they do have a bunch of these. They have all the plans that have ever been made chronicled there. They have the posters and everything else. We have one of the signs hanging in the council chambers. So there's a lot of things that we can work on that we've never had the chance to work on before. And I think this money's a great opportunity to really start growing downtown Greenville instead of just keeping it. Thank you.
Joel.
From the beginning, I've been a staunch proponent of investing any sale proceeds and using the annual interest. Such an approach would create generational wealth that can be utilized by future councils to address needs that we can't even begin to see today. But first, the money needs to be invested properly, and as a manager for private equity fund, advice I would offer to new council is get a professional investment firm to handle the management of the funds. This is Greenville's nest egg for the future. It needs to be handled with the utmost care and removed from political manipulations. As far as making use of the annual distributions, I could see using a sizable chunk, maybe 2/3 or so, as operational funds for the redevelopment authority. Why, you might ask? Because I believe that taxpayers should not be on the hook to fund that monster, which is the case in the 2026 budget. If the RDA can present beneficial projects with achievable goals, possibly attaining grant money to match, let's give it a go. The taxpayer is not at risk and can only reap the benefits from the endeavor. If it flops, then we redirect the money to something else the next year. The remaining annual distribution money can be used to fund council-approved capital projects such as paving or community development. The money should not be used to cover general operating expenses or salaries. It's not a windfall for lavish spending frees or granting outsized wages. It's an investment for Greenville's future. Thank you.
Thank you. So, for better or for worse, it seems like there was a lot of consensus there, which is going to make it hard for Earl to write the story, just FYI. So let's maybe get to something hopefully less consensus, but speak your minds. This is a nice question because it's a headline in today's paper. It's something that hits people right in their pocketbooks, and it's just very, very current, very germane. And the town's proposed budget for 2026. We're looking at there's a proposal at raising the stormwater and fire fees $50 each, or $100 total, bringing that bill from $350 annually to $450. Please share your thoughts on this increase. Is it necessary? Would we be able to foot stormwater work and support the fire department without them? Talking to some people, maybe the question is skewed against maybe the fee is too high, but how do we do what is needed for these departments if we don't have this increase? But also, can the taxpayers afford the hike? Joel, your thoughts?
I was at the budget hearing on Monday night, and I stated that these increases are absolutely not necessary. I've been doing some research into these fees, and what I found concerns me. There's excess money over the years that has been transferred from those dedicated funds to the capital reserve account, which is a general purpose account. So what happens when that money gets commingled? It muddies the waters as to what money is being used for what purposes. The only way to know for sure is to perform a detailed audit on those accounts. Town management and council need to stop that bleed. These funds are not to be used to raise money for the town's capital reserve account. We could accomplish the same without the fees, but property taxes would increase significantly. Problem with property taxes is that if a property gets donated to a church or to the college, it is removed from the town's tax rolls. Donating is a noble action to be sure, but it shifts the tax burden to the remaining property owners. It's far better to sell the property, donate the proceeds of the sale, and keep the property on the tax rolls. These service fees are necessary because they attach to the property regardless of ownership, and it spreads the cost of the burden of those services. Affordability is a matter of individual finances. Perhaps what is more practical to address is palatability. I think it would be beneficial to come up with a payment program that spreads the payments over the course of the year instead of demanding the entire amount up front in the first quarter. This would lessen the impact for people on fixed incomes. If elected to council, I will never vote to approve a budget that misuses service fee funds or that has unjustifiable increases. And I will not vote for any increase in these fees until those accounts have been audited and reconciled. Thank you.
Thank you. Trey.
Okay. You had me going there for a second, because I think taxes, property taxes, yes, but then these fees do apply to businesses, and that's kind of my biggest point, is we're really not just talking about $100 for one person who owns one property parcel, because will it be a problem for some people? Will it be an issue? Yes, it can be. But I feel like the real heart of this issue is that for some of these bigger businesses that reside in the borough, this is going to result in a lot higher of a hit. I believe the estimated costs on Teal's most recent estimation was $10,000 to $15,000 of an increase for them. So that's a lot on plates for the businesses that are kind of the lifeblood of our town. And I know the river kind of makes a divide between Teal and Greenville. We have our own little lives, but for those few of us that have bridged that gap, those two things are very important. And also, if you ever come to a planning commission meeting and look at the zoning and how much of the borough Teal operates, you know that's important. And then the hospital's another item. And frankly, as far as the increase goes, I think the previous question really answers it. Do we need to increase our fees by 100 if we're getting an additional $1.5 million that we didn't have before? Probably not, especially if it's going to cause problems for some of the residents and significant problems for a decent amount of the businesses and major property owners that reside and are the lifeblood of the borough. Thank you.
Ian.
I'm not a fan of the fees. And I hear a lot that stormwater is ridiculous and that the fire service fee, we should just operate with it. And I get it, stormwater is not sexy or pretty. And unfortunately right now, the fees are what we have to fix some of these problems. We have a 100-year-old stormwater system that's collapsing. We're currently hammering it to find the places that we can prioritize fixing it. Those are not cheap and they're not easy fixes. The fire service fee, I like my paid fire department. I like knowing that their response time is quick. I like knowing that there is somebody that's gonna be there and I'm not waiting for somebody to show up to get a truck moving or coming from another place that's gonna delay the time and for care. It's not my favorite thing in the world. I'll be honest. Do I think it's something that we could work on more aggressively in terms of looking at cost sharing? I think it's time to really get aggressive with regionalization talks for fire and police. I think that the stormwater fees, I think that's something that we can start looking at projects with the interest. One of the things I do like about it is equitable. When you take a property off the tax rolls, they're not paying for those services. They're benefiting from them, but they're not paying for them. And they pay a larger fee than we do as residents. It's the system we have right now. In terms of paying, we don't have to pay, you can pay it over the course of the first quarter. It doesn't have to be $450 paid in one lump. I don't think the borough's done a really good job about advertising that. I've been pretty vocal about that. We've looked at dividing those payments out. Is there a good time to make that payment due? You know, second quarter, you got school board taxes, income taxes, property taxes. When is a good time for residents to pay a fee? You know, does it increase? I'll stop.
Complete your thought.
Does,
Take
you know,
a few
does
seconds.
it, are we delaying and putting ourselves in a position where, like, for the fire department, we can't pay payroll? And are we gonna have to take a loan out to pay payroll? We're looking at a fee, we're looking at proceeds of a sale that have not come to fruition yet, and again, it's the long game. And for the immediate future, this is what we have.
Thank you. Jennifer?
When it comes down to it, I pay these for multiple properties and for commercial properties. Commercial properties have a significantly higher fee than a homeowner. Do I like them? Absolutely not. But are they necessary? In some form they are. We voted to have a paid fire department. That fire department, with their response times, saves homes, saves lives. I like to be able to call and know that I'm going to have support quickly. The fire department budget was pulled out of the general fund and funded by this fee for the last 3 years. Our department deserves the money that they earn. They are entitled to raises, and that's where these raises in these fees come from. Can we utilize our funds better? Absolutely. There are things that we can do that are a necessity, and then there are things that are not necessarily important immediately. So the borough indicates that, like, the cost is increasing, you know, the employee cost. You know, we have neglected capital improvements in the fire department. There are things that are necessary. There's a new truck that they need, you know, and this money that they're asking for, it literally goes right for all of these expenses. It is rather transparent on where the money goes. For the stormwater, it has an aging stormwater infrastructure. There's a lot of mapping and cleaning and things that need to be done. For example, I believe in 2015, when that huge rain, it wiped out houses, and that is a maintenance of stormwater. And that brought things to light and focus. So these things need to be addressed, and the fees are necessary.
Tracy?
All right. The fees originally were put in place so that all property owners, including nonprofits, are contributing to the use or potential use of our town fire services and the upkeep of our stormwater system. At the time, it was a balance between the property tax and the fees. They balanced out. But by doing the fees versus raising the property tax, is that it makes all property owners responsible and not just for citizens. And I understand that Teal, the hospital, larger properties or people that own more properties pay a larger fee, but it would take more assistance, more resources to put out fire on those properties, to, you know, take care of whatever those issues would be. None of us want the fees to increase, and I realize $100 added to a household is a lot of money. On the other hand, as a community, we have voted twice in overwhelming numbers to save and support our fire department. There are cost increases as state funding decreases. We have trucks, equipment, insurances, all of those costs have gone up. We want our firefighters to be safe and to have the equipment they need so they are fire ready. The stormwater. Your stormwater fee if you wanna see your stormwater in use, or your money, your funds in use, you need to drive up North Third, and then up the hill to the old West Side School, and look down the valley. This is a perfect example of providing a system that will reduce water runoff, save the hill from eroding below that hill and knocking houses off their foundations. Our stormwater is very old and it needs a lot of replacement as far as the pipes and the basins and what have you. So we could not raise the fee, but then what work would wait? Whose house is next to be flooded out or damaged by the waters that we can't contain?
Gene?
As many of you know, I'm totally opposed to the amount the stormwater and the fire fees are being raised at the level suggested in the 2026 budget. At the inception of these fees, they were $210. From there, we will be at $450 if this passes. The administrative staff presented that the concerns that the fees were too low to begin with. That might be true, but should the taxpayers bear the brunt of that error at this rate of increase? At $100 per year, in 5 years, we'll be at $950 total for this fee. Like the people of the town, the fire and the storm fees have to work from a budget. Budgets from all sides need adjusted. Remembering that during Act 47, we were forced to live within guidelines. While the guidelines are now gone, the guardrails and the lessons learned should not be forgotten. We need to work together toward compromise. The $100 raise in fees is way over the cost of living that those lucky enough to get it will be receiving. The stormwater fee has to repair, scope, and clean out when possible storm drains to prevent flooding that costs money, and our storm drains are in bad shape. The fire department has equipment repairs needed also, and I believe in 2 years the contract for the firemen come up and their wages will increase. Many people on fixed incomes, people making low wages, and even our businesses are facing real challenges that make it, under the current conditions, hard to cover budgets with these increases. There needs to be give and take, not just take. To say that both sides need to readjust, that's what we need to do. The administration says this increase is what they need, and that they want to put the money aside for fire trucks and such. Many people are simply trying to survive and would like money back to put back for their needs. We need to find a balance. We need to work together. We need to compromise on both sides.
Paul?
So I first would like to echo what Ann Butcher said, and I agree with Jean and, Jen and Tracy here. Couple little things. One, $100 is a lot of money to anybody. It's $8.33 a month, $3 a day. It's a lot of money to some people. But the reality of it is we've spent decades not maintaining our storm drains, not maintaining our infrastructure, pushing it down the road because that's what we say every year. We can't afford it. We can't afford it. So it gets pushed down, and minor problems end up being major problems, like the Lutzenheiser, where the lady lost her home. You know, that was almost $1 million project up there. I believe one of the projects that's earmarked for this increase is the Lancaster, Lebanon area that's been flooding out forever, to fix the issue down there for them. We have an issue on East Avenue. It's a simple drain pipe. It's gonna cost $63,000. So, yes, we can not pass this and we could probably function, but we're not gonna take on any new projects. We're not gonna be able to. We're just not gonna be able to afford it. We do have a windfall of money coming. It's not here yet. We can't currently govern on what we might get later on down the road. We need to govern with what we can and what we have. There's nothing that says that if this vote goes through and this fee is raised, that, you know, the interest from that money a couple years from now eliminates that fee. But we can't stop progress, we can't stop all the work that we've done in the last 10, 15 years of moving Greenville forward, trying to redevelop this community, get our roads back in order, get our infrastructure back in order, and get caught up with the old attitude of, well, we can't afford it, let's let the next council deal with it, or the next generation deal with it. We need to stay focused and keep going down the path that we've been going on rebuilding our community and our town.
Thank you. So we've done pretty well so far, but somehow we're already down to 19 minutes left. I had an additional question prepared, just basically what your goals are. Council and the borough has achieved a lot in the last few years, getting out of Act 47, those kind of things. But we're running short on time, and I want to make sure that everyone kind of gets a chance to give a pitch for why they are the person, and also our mayor candidates, which is a smaller pool, what they feel differentiates them. So let's do that, and if there's additional time, we'll see what we can do with it. But for now, let's just each of you give 2 minutes, make a pitch. Why should we vote for you? Why are you the? There's several of you. There's 7 of you. There's only 3 seats. You add on the mayor race, and there's not a lot of seats. Someone's going to be left without a chair. So why should voters choose you? Paul, go ahead.
I can first. When I first got on council 10 years ago, I had the same delusion that a lot of people have, that the town's wrong, everything they're doing is wrong, the admin staff needs replaced. I found out very quickly when I got on the council, that's not the story. I also found out very quickly I was over my head, which is why I spent the first 3 years of being on council going to every training class I could go through with the state. It was actually told to me by someone on council that all the training you need is right here in this room. And my arrogance said, well, no, that's why everything's wrong, so I can't be trained from you, I need to go get trained outside of Greenville. I've since apologized, by the way, to all those people, just so you know. I feel I'm the best choice right now because Greenville is on the cusp of really achieving a lot of our greatness and goals of moving this community forward. I think changing the role right now will disrupt that. I'm bringing 10 years of connections throughout this state, 10 years of representing Greenville outside of Greenville with the regional planning in Harrisburg, COG, the Boroughs Association, the legislatures in Greenville, which actually is why we have a redevelopment authority, because I led those changes to get us a redevelopment authority and changed it for the entire state. I think one of the bigger attributes that I have is I learned a long time ago that when you enter into the council chambers for a meeting, you enter into a committee meeting, you leave all your personal garbage at the door, all of it. Whether you like someone, you dislike someone, you don't believe they're Republican, Democrat, you're to leave that at the door. Listen to each other, talk to each other, communicate with each other, and work for the community as a whole. When you have people that can't do that, the community suffers. I work with people every day that I don't like, but I listen to them, I take what they have to say, and if they have a better idea, that's what we roll with, and that's what we go with, because that's what is good for the community. So I do ask for your support again on the next Tuesday, and let's help keep Greenville moving forward.
Gene.
Greenville means family to me. The people I've known for most of my life, the people I work with on boards, organizations, and the people I see in the streets every day, in the businesses, in our beautiful parks, the people that come to the Doctor's Center, and the wonderful friends I've made over the years. These are all part of my family. As is normal with most families, we've had our ups and downs. I can be your best friend or a force to be reckoned with if needed. I understand that. I take calls, texts, emails. I'm open to conversations with all citizens and all businesses all the time. I plan to work on the communication between council and the administration and the people of the town to build bridges with the council, not cause divisions that make work much harder or nearly impossible. I will not vote just to go along. I will research items to get the best results. My management experience and my experience working with groups of people in this community have given me the knowledge and the skills to work together with you, for you, for a clear vision of Greenville's future. I think it's time for a change, a wake-up call. We need to ask more questions, do more research, and I want to be that change. I believe that me becoming mayor would be an important step to that change. This community is very dear to me. Greenville is on the verge of a transformation to move us to a brighter future. Let's all do that together.
Tracy.
Okay, I went on a little different angle. I have a list. I've lived in Greenville my entire adult life. I'm a leader. I have a great attitude. I'm a great communicator. I make decisions looking at how they have affected us in the past and will affect us now and in the future for all 5,500 of us. But I don't live in the past. I am reasonable. I don't assume. I love a debate. I am a problem solver, finding best solutions for the most difficult problems. I'm rarely intimidated. I can agree to disagree. I'm not put off by someone who disagrees with me. I'm still learning and not afraid to admit it. And if I'm wrong, I own it. And my ego does not affect my decision making. So, having said all of that, I hope to be the communicator on council that will bring us together, allow us to have those conversations, those tough conversations where we disagree and occasionally have to agree to disagree and move on to the next subject. So, thank you for your attendance tonight and your maybe considering that I could be your mayor. Thank you.
Jennifer.
My priority going into this and hoping to be elected is that we continue to move our community forward. I believe with the communication throughout council and, like Tracy said, agreeing to disagree, that's something that we do have to do. We cannot fully rely on our political stance. That doesn't really matter here in a small town like Greenville. We have to work together to get things to go forward. You cannot do things solo. Everything has to be done as a group. And we have to learn to compromise and look what is going to be best for our community.
Very good. Ann.
Yeah, so this was the hardest question for me because it asked me to talk about myself and ask you guys to vote for me, which is actually really hard. Yeah, I've spent 4 years on council. I learned the hard lesson, like Paul did, when you walk in, it's not as easy as you think, and you're not gonna make sweeping changes, and that if you're not gonna collaborate, you're not gonna work together, not a lot's gonna get done. I'd like to think over the 4 years that I've served, I have made decisions based upon deliberation and common sense. I'm not vocal necessarily in council. I do talk in committee meetings, and I will ask questions if there's something that I need to know before I walk in the door. I think it's also, you have to be comfortable making the unpopular choice if it's the right choice. That's not always easy. And local government is where you see the greatest impact on your representation. You know, you guys are my neighbors. You know, I walk across the street a lot and I'm like, what's up with that? And I'm like, well, okay, here's the deal. You know, I had to explain why Pennsylvania's gas is so expensive compared to everywhere else in the country today. So, you know, I'd like to continue that. I'd like to be part of a collaborative effort to move this community forward. I love this town. I really do. Moving here, I saw all the potential, and I still see it. And I still see it when we go downtown. And I'd like to be part of that. I think it's time that we start using council as the driving force with a lot of other groups, and we start pushing them together. We've got a planning commission, a redevelopment authority, we have a chamber of commerce, we have the Greenville Area Economic Development Corporation, Penn Northwest. All of us tend to be working in little clusters by ourselves. And it's time that we start coming to the table together and start creating a comprehensive plan that moves us forward and drops all the BS to the side.
The timer essentially
I know.
beat you. That was perfect. Trey.
I've been trying to do this my entire life. That's really anyone who's known me for my entire life, as many of you in this room have. It's always been what I wanted to do. I can't exactly tell you why a 5-year-old kid thinks being on council would be fun, but I did. And no, I don't think you should vote for me because I think it would be fun. I just wanted to say that. I've been trying to do this for a few years, and what I keep hearing, and people around me keep hearing and keep telling me, is people say he's so young. And obviously sitting here, or in this room in general, there's a certain discrepancy between my age and most everybody else, or just Greenville or Mercer County or any of them in general. And it's my father's phone. No, it's I heard piano music and I was like, this is weird. I play piano. Anyways, getting back to it, what I wanted to say was I might be young, but I think based on my infrastructure, my education, and as much work as I could possibly pack into my adult life, I'm about as experienced for this as I could possibly be, between working on different town adventures, working with the Chamber of Commerce, working with the various economic development corporations, both of them, with Ellen and of course with my uncle at Penn Northwest. I've tried to educate myself in the best ways possible, and with my remaining 45 seconds, I will try and demonstrate that. What I've learned is that the biggest thing for Greenville is we need outside investors attracting private investment. It's just the lifeblood of all these areas. Any place that you see developed, that's what happens. Sharon, Franklin, all these cool downtowns, that's what happens. We need to develop a system that is going to encourage people to want to be here and come in here, because frankly, I've watched most of my friends and a lot of their families do the exact opposite, which is not fun. It's not fun for anybody, especially when you've known your entire life that you love this place and you wanted to be here for the rest of your life. You want to make it better. And the best way we can make it better is by creating an environment downtown and just in Greenville in general where businesses and people want to live here and work here. And even if they don't work here, they still want to live here because it's a good place. And anything that the council is working on that is moving in that direction is something that I would generally be in favor of. Thank you.
Thank you. Joel.
As a member of council, I can guarantee you that my vote would never be bought, bartered, sold, cajoled, or used to curry favor. Each vote I would make there would take into account feedback from the residents, from the voters, and weighed against what I see as the best possible course of action for Greenville's future. We can move the town forward together. Being on council is more than occupying a seat, it's being a voice for the people. As a member of the Vice Chair of the Charter Review Commission earlier this year, I developed a keen understanding of the town charter and how it applies to the functioning of our town government. It's not working smoothly. There was a slate of reforms that was introduced from a citizen's point of view. Unfortunately, those didn't make it out of the committee, but they were received well. And I think that some of those can be brought back into the mix to help smooth the functioning of government. I just want everyone to remember that my name will not be pre-printed on the ballot. You'll have to write it in for a town council seat, fill in the oval next to it. Trust me, it will be worth the effort. Right is right, wrong is out, and it's time to do right by Greenville. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have a whole 6 minutes left, and I did want to give our mayor candidates, this is the most important job. I want to give you at least a minute each to, why you guys, why each of you individually. You've already spoke to that a little bit, but if you want another minute to help differentiate yourself from the other two candidates, I think that would be useful. If Tracy would be first.
Sure.
And go.
I think communication is key. I think when we stop listening to each other, progress stops. So I believe that my communication skills are stellar and that I could and have, worked with council to make decisions that are really tough decisions and coming up with a solution to problems that feel like they don't have solutions. I never hold grudges, and I always am open to conversation and debate. And if you think you have something that you can offer that you think is better than what I'm doing, then please plead your case. Because because I'm always open to discussion and what is best for our community.
Perfect. Jean?
I think that everybody knows that I love Greenville, that I'll do anything for Greenville. I've tried to prove that over the last years. But I think our communication is not good. There's not good communication between council and administration always, and there's definitely not good communication between council and sometimes the people. People feel like they don't get answers. They feel like people don't listen to them. I'm telling you, I'll listen to you. And I may not have your answer right at the moment you tell me the question, but I'll find it for you and I'll give it to you. We all do have to work together. We do, but the priorities need to be, besides growing Greenville, which we need to do, our downtown needs to be our priority to start with. All the big deals that we wanna do, whether it's Trinity or what, none of that's gonna be good if we don't fix our downtown and our communities.
Thank you. Paul?
Communication obviously is a key in anything, the government, business, home life. I don't think any of us need to discuss that. We know that that's a key feature. A couple key points though I wanna just make sure everybody's clear on. We keep hearing about the downtown Greenville and how the business corridor is the key to Greenville and the success. I don't necessarily disagree with that. But what I do I wanna make sure no one's misled on is that is not the role of council. These are private owned buildings, private owned properties. We're not gonna take tax money and invest into these buildings. What we do is offer them different tax credits, which to this date, I believe no one's actually taken advantage of. So I just wanna make everybody clear that when you hear, downtown's the key, that's where we need to focus on. The focus has to be from the private sector. They have to buy these buildings. They have to invest the money into these buildings. Our job as council is to hear them, do what we can to help them, whether it be through the codes, through the application process, tax credits, and to continue keeping Greenville growing outside of our limit and keep us in the spotlight with the county and the state and even the federal government to help those programs succeed and become reality for our town.
Well, thank you. And I just want to thank all of you for running, for those currently serving, for he's watching. Takes a lot of time, takes a lot of bravery, and for those who don't know, it's completely unpaid, which, who does that? It's kind of crazy. So thank you for doing that. Thank you all of you for coming, getting informed, figuring out who these people are, what they plan to do, why they plan to do it. For your friends who couldn't make it, your best option, Earl's going to have a story in tomorrow's paper. We'll have additional coverage. We're also going to get the recordings up on this for those folks to review. So make sure to vote on Tuesday. And something else, this board council meets twice a month. They have a work session, they have a voting meeting. You can see it live. Sometimes it's a very entertaining and stressful show. So good luck with that. And but again, thank you everyone, and have a nice day. Everybody, everyone did a good job.
I was
You put something online earlier about this?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I saw it. Nice. Thanks for sharing that.
Absolutely. Glad you're here.